So there are only about 1% Black-owned breweries of the 9,000 breweries that are out there. I was not brought out to be vocal about being Black. I've always had this juxt of like, I don't want it to seem like this is why we got here, but I squashed all that in the last couple of years, and it's like, it's not about the recognition, because I'd rather not. You know, I'm an accountant by trade, not this outgoing person that's painted now, but it was almost like a mission that, you know, representation matters, and I think I would be doing a disservice without, you know, saying what our background is and, you know, building a path for others to follow. So it's just required now, despite what anybody thinks. It doesn't matter.
Just being a brown person in craft beer, you know, being the only one sometimes in the room, you have some interesting conversations. Early on, when I got into home brewing and craft beer, you know, I encountered a few things to where people, you know, people talk down to you because they don't know you.
It's just people's like assumptions when you approach. The assumption is that Arthur is the other guy with me. I have had a few interactions at wineries. They're like, oh, I want an industry discount, right? And they're like, oh, well, where do you work? It's like, I own Full Circle Brewing, and there's just that slight bit of like, And I used to just always kind of bury that, but in the last like couple of years, it's like, okay, well, we got to do this to redefine what people's perceptions is about who is in the industry.
I never let that slow me down because I knew that I was in this environment for a reason. I have thick skin. Right now, where I am, it's like I have a duty to educate and open doors for other people who are trying to get into the craft beer industry.
We need to highlight and do the things that we're doing to say there are Black-owned breweries. There is a career in this, and there is diversity both on the consumer side and the ownership side. So I think representation will kind of tip the scales.
I never thought that I would be in the craft beer industry. I had no aspirations of owning a brewery or being a commercial brewer, but when I started home brewing, I went online and I Googled Black brewery owners. I came across Ted Mack Sr., who was the first Black brewery owner in the United States. A lot of people never heard of Mr. Mack. His information, I was like, wow, that provoked a lot of thought in it. I guess I had like a secret fire burning inside of me to learn more about Black people and beer.
The biggest barrier in this industry for small minority-owned breweries to get to the next level is access to capital. Every big growth pattern you go through requires capital, but you get capital from the banks and from the investors who trust, right? So you almost have to get through the initial, like, you know, assumption or what perceptions of what people feel is a trustworthy person, right?
There's a lot of things going on when it comes to keeping people out. You know, there's not a lot of Black-owned businesses in general in any industry that you go into. If they are, you have to jump through hoops. It can be frustrating. People quit.
My encouragement is to go out and get the experience, right? You'll get the certifications, get the education, and partner with the people who have done it before so you could come forth with your knowledge and get the capital that you deserve. It's also just important to access a whole new market, right? Craft beer is always about bringing people together around the liquid and, you know, allowing people to kind of put their shields down and have good conversations about stuff that's not even the liquid. Creating more spaces that invite Black consumers and just other minorities in there and having a comfortable space. That first experience going into a new craft brewery has to be positive and it has to be accepting. That's the biggest piece because then it allows people to take that same journey.
The amount of people in the industry is less than 1%, like we mentioned earlier, but I've come across a lot of people of color that are looking to push forward and walk through those doors and increase that number.
It's just important, one, to get an open dialogue and talk about things.
Let's have those conversations. At the end of the day, I find that if you want to make change, you got to be the change. So henceforth, chill out and have a cold one. Salud. Arrivederci.